Hi you guys, my name is Cyan Gore and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Recently I have been in the worst reading slump of my life and I'm quite literally miserable.
There's people that are dying.
It feels really bad when you can't do something that you absolutely love to do, and it's also very frustrating. So I've made up my mind that I'm going to make myself get out of this reading slump, and that's what this video is going to be about. It's going to be me trying to get out of a reading slump by reading some anticipated new releases that I have. Hopefully this helps. If not, I don't know what I'm gonna do. But we are starting off with a book that I am already 25% of the way through, and that is Wildside by Elsie. If you know me, I love Elsie and her writing. This is her newest release. I think it came out in March. I've been anticipating it. I pre-ordered it, got it in right away, and then just never picked it up because reading slumps. What can you do about it? But let me talk about where I'm at in this one. In this one, we are following Reese and Tabitha. Tabitha is actually a chef slash restaurant owner, and Reese is a pro wrestler. Like that kind of wrestler. If you know, you know. You know what? I'll talk more about that later. But Tabitha's sister actually is Reese's neighbor, and that is how they end up meeting. But Tabitha's sister passes away from being an addict, and she has a young son named Milo. Tabitha really wants to take in Milo, take care of him. She's his aunt. She wants to be a part of his life. But the problem is that her sister actually left her son's custody in Reese's hand, and Tabitha doesn't quite understand this because she thought it was just her sister's neighbor, and also she doesn't really love Reese, and they also have kind of a bad interaction when they first meet each other in the prologue of the book. And like I said, Reese is quite mysterious to her. He's very shady, mostly about his job because he doesn't want people to know what he does for a living. He just tells people that he's in the entertainment industry, and obviously this is kind of a weird situation for everyone to be in. Reese and Tabitha are co-parenting Milo. Reese is traveling back and forth because he is originally living in Florida, and if you don't know, all of her books take place in Canada. So there is a slight issue with his visa and being able to see Milo and be around him as much as he wants, especially along with the fact that his job is quite demanding and takes a lot of time. And that's all I really have so far. I will say though, I'm getting the strong impression that this book is going to end up being a marriage of convenience because the author is strongly hinting at the fact that this whole Reese living in Canada thing is going to be a bigger concern. I'm like 100% sure that's what it's going to be. I don't read the back of books before I go into them, so I'm pretty sure that's probably on the back of the book. Oh yeah, it's literally right at the top. Okay, yeah, it's gonna be a marriage of convenience. Saw that coming. And so far, I will say, I do feel like it is slightly helping with my book slump. I just love Elsie writing in general. It's very fast-paced, easy to read, and she does banter really good. Plus, I always really like whenever characters don't really love each other, and when they first meet, I don't want to call it enemies to lovers because it's definitely not that. I love that, plus all of the little quips that they make at each other, and the smoothly flowing banter that they have. It's just really good. The one thing I cannot get over is that he's a wrestler.
Brother,
Look, I don't hate on people for their career paths in real life, but in my book, I'm gonna be a hater. I don't like that he's a wrestler. For some reason, it kind of gives me the ick. I'm gonna try to look past that. It's not my favorite, you know? But I'm gonna keep reading and we'll see how the rest of this goes. I'm now at the 75% mark of Wildside. I don't quite know why, but for some reason this book is just not hitting quite like other Elsie books have for me. I think it could be a couple things. It does feel more lustful, which is kind of weird because I do feel like there's not as much smut in this book as there has been in some of her other ones. It's the way that they think about each other that feels more lustful. Like their internal monologue is always talking about,
Oh, he's so hot every time I look at him.
and
she's so sexy, she gives me a boner every time I look at her.
And I just don't care for that. I want things to be done on a more emotional level, and I'm not quite sure if it is just this book where that's happening, or maybe all of Elsie Silver's books have been like that, and either I just didn't notice, or my taste is changing and I don't prefer it in this book, or it could just be my reading slump. There's a lot of options here. But either way, I'm not enjoying that aspect of the book. Even though I feel that way, it's like I'm not bored and I'm having fun. It's just every time their internal monologue sexualizes the other person, I'm kind of like, ugh. And like there are some heavier topics brought up in here that helps them to build some sort of emotional connection. Obviously, you have the fact that her sister passed away and was an addict, and also Reese, he was in the foster care system growing up, so they do talk about that, connect through that. But for some reason, I'm not buying it. Another issue that I slightly have as well is that this is a whole entire series about single dads, and while I'm not in love with children when they're in books, I do think the other books in the series showed more of the children. It showed more of everyone coming together to build their little family. In this one, I feel like we're barely even seeing Milo, which I never thought I would say that, being someone, like I said, who doesn't love children in books, but I wanted to see more of the child in this book. Also, I don't care the slightest, smidgiest, tiniest bit about his wrestling. And like we're seeing issues that he's having with work, him actually wrestling, and every time she's describing what he's doing while he's wrestling, I could not care less. And I hate to say that, but I just don't care about wrestling. I grew up with a brother, so like, yeah, I used to watch it all the time. Monday Night Raw, WWE, John Cena, Rey Mysterio. Yeah, I know all about wrestling, but like I just didn't care to see it in this book at all. And like we get it, okay, you're a little bit embarrassed to tell people that you're a wrestler, but Tabitha makes you feel so seen and heard, and she makes you feel confident about what you do, and she doesn't make fun of you, blah blah blah. All of that is to say that obviously I do not care about the wrestling aspect of this book. What I do care about is finishing it up, so let's do it. So I know I haven't been talking highly about this book so far, but I do just want to give credit where credit is due. The writing is so good. It's so easy flowing. The banter between the characters she does really well. And she also does found family very well. In this series, there is a bowling team for all of the single dads, and I love watching their interactions together. The girls also go out on a lot of girls' nights, and they find their way like at the same bar / bowling alley, just hanging out. We've been introduced to a new character that I'm very interested to see her book. I just love the feeling of found family, so I honestly would have preferred to see even more of that throughout this book, especially because like she's navigating this new life raising a child with a man that is pretty much a stranger at first, so it would have been nice to see like the other couples from the other books step in and maybe give her some advice, talk her through it, but I just feel like we didn't get that. But strangely enough, I do feel like this has helped me to kind of get out of my reading slump a little bit. I'm still not convinced that I'm fully out of it, but it definitely did help, and I just feel like accomplished that I was able to read a full book after not reading a single one for an entire month. For that, thank you, Elsie Silver. Personally though, it is just not my favorite out of all of the books that I've read from her. A lot more lusty, like I kept saying, and again, he's a wrestler. If you loved this book, I completely understand why, but for me personally, it's kind of just a 3-star book. Like, it's in the middle of the road. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. Take everything I say in this video kind of with a grain of salt because of the fact that I'm in a reading slump, but also at the same time, like, is this my reading slump that's making me not like it, or is it me? I don't know. Do what you want, honestly. But now I'm moving on to my second book of the video, and this one is probably one of my most anticipated releases of the entire year because I love the first book in the series so much, and that is actually Enchantra. I feel like I'm saying that wrong. But it's by Kaylie Smith. The first book was Phantasma. If you don't know, I loved Phantasma so much. That book was a 5-star, and I always talk about it. I actually feel very proud. I could be wrong, but I think I have convinced quite a few of you in my book club to read Phantasma, and you guys loved it too. Consider me officially an influencer.
That is not correct.
But I am so excited because you guys are also wanting to read this with me, and I just can't wait. We are reading it in my book club on Discord, so I'll have a link down below if you want to join. It's so much fun. I am super pumped for this. These are dark fantasy romances. Phantasma is the first book. It is about a girl. I forgot her name. Is it Ophelia? I think it's Ophelia. She enters this competition called Phantasma where there are 9 trials, all modeled after the 9 levels of hell. She's doing it because at the very end you win a big prize. I forgot what the prize was, but like it was important. Oh wait, no, she was actually going to go look for her sister because her sister entered the competition. My bad. While she is in there, she ends up meeting a phantom who helps her throughout these trials, and of course, a romance ensues, and it was just so good. It does start off slow, so if you read it, know that. It starts off slow, but once you get into it, it is so dang good, and I had such a fun time reading it. So, again, I'm excited to read this one. All I really know about it is that it is her sister's book. At the ending of Phantasma, I didn't really know where we could go from there, but I'm excited. So, let's get into it. Also, why do fantasy writers love to have sisters? You know? Why is there always a sister or a twin? Always. I am 25% through Enchantra. I still feel like I'm saying it wrong. In this one, we are following Genevieve. Genevieve is actually looking for answers about her dead mother, because fantasies also love to have dead mothers. She is looking for answers about her, so she ends up receiving this invitation in the mail from one of her mother's old friends to a place called Enchantra. So she decides to heed this invitation and go there looking for answers, going to talk to this person. But when she gets there, she finds out that this is actually a cursed home, mansion, palace, place thing, and inside of it lives the Silver family. The Silver family is cursed to where every single year they have to participate in a game called The Hunt. This is overseen by a demon. There are also spectators who are going to be placing bets on who's going to win the hunt, and it is very deadly because you either win or you die, which for the Silver family is not a big deal because they are all immortal, but Genevieve is not. So her life is now at stake. Another fun part, which I did see, it is in the synopsis, so it's not a spoiler, is that our love interest is going to be Rowan. Rowan is the deadliest of all of the siblings. And well, actually, I'm not going to tell you because that's a huge spoiler. Go into this book blind. I think it'll make it a lot more fun. But basically, they are going to have to team up together to try and win the hunt together through a loophole. So you could quite possibly say that it is kind of like an enemies to lovers, or I would say it's giving those vibes. They don't really like each other. Like I said, though, we haven't actually seen the hunt take place yet. We're just kind of getting the backstory and everything. And I'm so excited to see what actually happens during these games. I love any kind of trials or games in books. And I didn't put the pieces together, but this series is actually called the Wicked Games series, so all of them are going to be like this, and I love that. And even though we haven't seen the actual games take place, we have seen a little bit of action in the beginning. It definitely has me intrigued to continue reading, and I just have to say, I love the Silver family. They definitely give off the same vibes as, like, is it Michaelson family from the Vampire Diaries? Gives off the same exact vibes where they're all pretty toxic and evil, and they have like a dark humor about them, and I love it. Quite frankly, I do like Genevieve so far. She comes off as like quite stubborn, but I feel like she's going to be able to hold her ground better than her sister did in the first book, but that could also be very wrong. She could end up being dumb. So far, the first 25% has been good. It has me intrigued, and I'm excited, so let's keep reading. have made it 75% of the way through Enchantra. The hunt that I talked about earlier is just hide and seek, except deadly. Every day is different. So the seeker is always different, and there's like a different type of hide and seek. Like in one of them, you can only hide in one spot. In one of them, you have to change the spot you're in every 4 hours. Obviously, Rowan and Genevieve are working together through each round, and at some parts, it can feel a little bit slow. When you're playing hide and seek, you're literally just hiding. But during those moments, we do get to learn more about the characters through their interactions, the way they're talking, their backstory, everything like that. And of course, we also get to see the tension building between the two of them. During those times, some pretty big reveals come to light, which also makes those quite exciting. And some of the rooms that they hide in are also like magically twisted. Like in one, there's a river that has piranhas and stuff like that. So it is interesting, but if I'm remembering correctly, it does feel like it doesn't have as much action as Phantasma had, but I am still enjoying the action that we are getting. And like I said, this game takes place with Rowan and his entire family, or his siblings anyways, and I love all of the siblings so much. They're very moody and morbid and twisted, and of course they're like having to kill each other in these games. Not permanently, but still, like, that would definitely take a toll on you. I also really do like Genevieve. I like her a lot more than Ophelia in the first book, and I feel like her and Rowan's personalities just kind of mesh well together. And I know I already made a comparison to the Vampire Diaries earlier. Rowan, for some reason in my mind, I am picturing him as Elijah from the Vampire Diaries, and I love that so much, even though, don't get confused, they are not vampires. They are wraiths, whatever that is. Actually, what is a wraith? And not just them, but also Rowan has a familiar, which is a fox, which I think is really cute. Obviously, I'm an animal lover. I have 2 dogs that you've probably seen. Might have confused them for rats, but no, they're my lovely dogs. I cannot stand if an animal dies in a book, so I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, you are safe from that in this book. But if an animal dies, it will literally ruin the entire book for me. I do not like that. It is no bueno. Beyond that, I'm really enjoying my time with it. I think it is helping me to get out of my slump because I'm just like excited to read again and to read more books. So this is working. I hope you weren't coming to this video trying to learn how to get out of your slump. This is just you watching me get out of mine, because I really have no tips for you. You just gotta do your thing until you can finally finish a book. But I do say, so far, I recommend reading some new releases, some books you're excited about, and hopefully that will help. But anyways, back to this book. I do feel like there's either gonna be like a huge reveal or some kind of crazy betrayal that happens in here. So I am excited to get to it. So let's finish it up. Yeah, this book was so good. I don't like it better than Phantasma. I do feel like Phantasma was better, especially with the plot, but it was still so much fun, and the vibes of this book definitely reminded me of that movie Ready or Not, I think is what it's called. If you've seen that movie, it's such a good movie. It's so ridiculous, but it's a fun time, and this book just kind of gave off those same vibes, and I absolutely cannot wait to see more. Once again, we've gotten 1 book on each sister, so I don't know where the rest of the story is going to go, but I am intrigued to see more of Rowan's family, so I do hope that they are included in the rest of the series. But for me, this one, like I said, it's not better than Phantasma, and Phantasma is a 5-star read for me. It's just not quite there, so I think I'm going to give it a 4.75. It was still really good, and I do highly recommend the series overall. And I think it should be mentioned as well if you're going to read this series, because they are a dark fantasy romance. It does include some gory details, and also it has spice. If this is your thing, Rowan does have some shadows that he puts to good use. I know the book girlies, we love to see that, so if that's your thing, you might also really enjoy this book. But that is this one. Now though, I am starting a new release that I have also been excited for, although I will say I didn't even know that this book was coming out. I feel like I didn't see any announcements about it. It's just one day it wasn't there, and then boom, we had this book. And that book is actually The Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings. I actually really enjoy Jessa Hastings' writing. I read the Magnolia Park series and I love it, but I also hate it at the same time. I feel like you won't understand that unless you've also read that series. I've only read the first 4. I also have read Never by her, although like a part of me is still very confused. Did I read that book? I know I read it, but did I? Because it just feels like a huge fever dream. But anyways, I'm excited to see her new release. I have no idea what it's about, but this cover does seem quite intriguing. although I do hate that like it's paperback, but there's flaps. Anyways, Jessa Hastings just has a way to beautifully express people's emotions to where you really feel what they're feeling, and she writes toxic characters, which I love because like we've all been toxic at some point in our lives, right? If you haven't, I fear you're lying. I just love her writing style in general, so let's get into it. Oh, these also have those edges. What is that called? I don't know. So I've made it 25% of the way through the conditions of will. In this one, we are following Georgia. Georgia comes from a very strict, conservative, very Christian family based in South Carolina. And when she is younger, she does something, so her family sends her away to London to go to this school. And once she gets older, she just stays in London and she distances herself from her family. Understandably, might I add. But when her father passes away, she now has to go back home. So obviously her mother and her are not on good terms, as well as her and her sister Magellan, or whatever the fuck her name is. No, it's Marianne. I know it's Marianne. That might actually be a disservice to Magellan. Who is Magellan? Am I making that up, or is that like someone important? Anyways, Marianne, she's a bitch. And she also has some other siblings. The eldest brother was just kind of there, but she also has another brother named Oliver, and Oliver was also kind of... what is the word? When like... oh, he was kind of like disowned from his family because Oliver is gay and he also struggles with a drinking problem. Her family doesn't like him, and since they were the two outcasts, they kind of always had a closer connection to one another. And so Oliver, of course, is also home for his father's funeral, and he brings along his sponsor, whose name is Sam. Sam and Georgia kind of hit it off immediately. They have this attraction towards one another, and it's very obvious, so her family is kind of just like giving her shit for it for some reason, which you'll learn in the book. They kind of treat her as if she's a Scarlet, you know? So they think she's just like out to sleep with every single guy that crosses her path, which is so infuriating. And Georgia also, you know, she doesn't really want to cross a boundary with Sam because her brother has a crush on Sam. Even though Sam is a straight man, that could still cause some issues between her and her brother, the only one that she really feels close to. And so for the most part in this book so far, we are just seeing her interactions with her family while out on bereavement. I don't know how long this story is supposed to take place. It's a few days in, and we've seen how judgy her family is and how tough it has been on Georgia throughout the past and even right now in the present. But it has alluded to the fact that her father has a secret. I'm kind of intrigued to learn what that secret is. And another big factor in this book is that Georgia has the ability to read people based off of their body language, their expressions, the way their voice changes. She can just like tell if someone's lying. She can really read their emotions and what they're feeling, and I feel like that's also going to play a huge part in the end of this story, which I personally find that aspect pretty interesting. But already it's slightly becoming a little bit annoying because she literally does it with every single person and every interaction we've had. And since this is definitely going to be a people-driven story, I fear it's going to keep happening a lot. But I feel like the story is going to have a lot of moving parts. It's going to have something to do with her ability to read people, her father's secret that we don't know about, her family life, as well as her romance with Sam and her brother's addiction and how their relationship is going to change throughout the story. Right now, I will say though, I just feel like it's not that interesting, but it is the introduction. I can't fault her for that, but the premise does seem quite interesting to me, so I am excited to keep reading and figure out what's actually going on in the story and learn more about her family and everything, because for the most part, books that are people driven, it's just drama. I'm here for the drama, so we'll see what happens in here. am now 75% of the way through The Conditions of Will, and thankfully I'm actually liking this a lot better than my initial thoughts and opinions. I feel like it definitely has amped it up some more because Jessa Hastings, her writing just has a way of making you feel things through the eyes of our characters. For example, when Georgia is getting berated by her family members, I can feel such visceral anger. It just felt so dark and dreary and heavy, and it literally drained me of my energy. You know, when you're around people that are so draining, I could feel that while reading this book. I also really like that our main character kind of speaks to the reader, especially in her internal monologue. She's speaking to you, and it makes it feel like you're just talking to a friend in a way about their past experiences. I still have to say this one is going a little bit slow for me. I'm so interested in the secret that her father is keeping, and we're just now getting to the part where they're even investigating this secret. Why is it taking you so long? I also don't particularly love the fact that Georgia and Sam are just like sneaking around behind her brother's back. Every time they sneak around with one another, it's just them having sex. For me, it's very hard to feel an emotional connection. Although they do share a lot of emotional things, it feels more like trauma bonding, if I'm being completely honest. I don't know how they would work outside of this 1 week or like 2 week span of being at this funeral together. And the fact that they're having to sneak around behind her brother's back kind of irks me, just because you're all adults here. Just tell your brother that you like Sam. And another thing that really irks me is like the romance in this book, because okay, they went to a coffee shop and she literally sat on his lap the entire time.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
Absolutely not. Like, literally get out of here. I still love the writing style. I still think it is a tad bit more interesting. I really want to know what the dad's secret is. So I'm gonna keep reading and hopefully finish it up. I did finish this book yesterday, and I have some final thoughts. First off, I don't really know what to rate this book. I've already kind of talked to you guys about some of the things that I didn't like in here, but it did go by so quickly, and I did find the drama of it all to be quite interesting. Like, of course, all of the things that we've already talked about, plus I know with this cover, and I've seen some discourse about the talk of religion in here, and while it does talk about how religion played part in the way her family treated her, I do not feel at all like it is targeting Christianity or like talking down on religion at all. So that is a plus side if that is something you were worried about. Moving forward, like I have said multiple times now, I did like reading about her dad's secret and finding out about that and the way this all wrapped up nicely. I just wish it was more of that, and like I keep saying as well, the romance just fell so flat for me. I really feel like Sam was more of a therapist more than anything, and I didn't really see them working out in the long run, and that was so confusing because I have looked at the reviews and a lot of people say that they loved Sam, but I just didn't really feel anything towards him. But I completely understand if you did and he's like one of your favorite book boyfriends. I just, for some reason, he felt off to me. I can't explain it, but he just did. Not to mention the fact that they did move very quickly. Like, they literally only knew each other for 19 days. They were already just like madly in love. It just felt like a whole lot of trauma bonding to me, and I really think that like they would get a divorce. It's not my favorite romance of all time. I don't know what to think of this. If I absolutely had to give it a rating, maybe 3.5. I just loved the drama and the family and the story, but I didn't care for the romance. Those are all of the books that I'm reading this week. In terms of my reading slump, I do think I'm out of it. Now I'm just like excited to read books, and that book was also kind of a little bit of a test. I cannot read people-driven books unless I am really in the mood for it. And the fact that I was able to read that one and enjoy it, and I now still feel like reading, I think it's a sign. So I think this really has helped, and I'm excited. So yeah, that's it. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts and opinions if you have read any of these books. Give me some recommendations if you would like. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great reading week and just a great rest of your week in general, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!